Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news. Hey, Falcons fans, buckle up. Because what's happening right now in the NFL, especially in the NFC South, could be a game changer for our beloved team. We all know the NFC South has been a wild division over the past few seasons, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, and of course, us, the Falcons, fighting tooth and nail for supremacy. But this offseason, there's a shift happening, a shift that might just redefine where Atlanta stands in the hierarchy of the league. And no, I'm not talking about just draft picks or signings. I'm talking about a move that could shake up the entire NFC South, a move that involves a veteran superstar who could be on the move, and it might just land right here in Atlanta. Now, let's set the stage. The NFL offseason is always a whirlwind of rumors, trades, signings, and contract negotiations. And this year, one of the hottest topics, especially among fans and analysts, is the situation surrounding one of the league's most dominant pass rushers, T.J. Watt. Yes, the Steelers' star linebacker and edge rusher. Watt has been a cornerstone of Pittsburgh's defense since he was drafted in 2017, and over the years, he's proven to be one of the most relentless and game-changing defenders in the entire league. But as it often happens in the NFL, even the brightest stars face some dark clouds, and for Watt, those clouds are related to contract talks. You see, the Pittsburgh Steelers recently made some bold moves. They traded for Dolphins stars like Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, and in the process, they gave both players substantial raises. Now, that might seem like good business on paper, but it's creating some tension within the Steelers' locker room and front office. And more importantly, it's stirring up some serious questions about T.J. Watt's future. Rumors are swirling that Watt's contract negotiations have hit a snag. And according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the situation isn't as rosy as it might seem. Schefter mentioned that while everyone expects Watt and the Steelers to eventually come to an agreement, right now, they're not close, and Watt himself isn't particularly happy with how things are unfolding. This kind of tension in contract negotiations can sometimes lead to players requesting trades, especially when they feel undervalued or overlooked. And in Watt's case, there's talk about him possibly asking for a move, a way to find a fresh start, a new environment where he can be appreciated and compensated accordingly. Now, one of the teams that could be eyeing him, and I mean seriously considering making a move, is the Green Bay Packers. That might come as a surprise, but it all makes sense when you look at the Packers' current roster and cap situation. They recently moved on from star corner Jair Alexander, freeing up some cap space, and they're always looking to bolster their pass rush. The idea of bringing Watt back home, to Wisconsin, where he played college ball at Wisconsin, is something that's been floated around quite a bit. But it's not just the Packers who are interested. No, the Atlanta Falcons are also lurking in the background, and this is where things get really interesting for us. The Falcons, as most of you know, have been building a young, talented defense over the past couple of seasons. Players like Jalen Walker, a promising linebacker, and James Pierce Jr., a rising star on the edge, have shown flashes of brilliance, but adding a veteran like T.J. Watt would take our pass rush to another level. Imagine having a former Defensive Player of the Year, a 7-time Pro Bowler, and a 6-time All-Pro in your defensive front. That's not just leadership, that's instant credibility. It's exactly what we need to become a true playoff contender, and perhaps even more. Now, I want you to pause here for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let's continue with the big reveal. The idea of acquiring Watt isn't just about adding a star pass rusher, though that alone would be a huge boost. It's about what Watt could do for the entire defense, especially for our young linebackers and defensive ends. His presence, his leadership, his relentless motor, all of that could serve as a catalyst for our entire defensive scheme. Raheem Morris, our head coach, has emphasized the importance of building a stout pass rush, and drafting Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. was a clear sign of that focus. But pairing those young talents with a seasoned veteran like Watt, and even locking him up long-term, could be exactly the piece we need to finally take that next step. Of course, this move isn't just about the on-field impact. It's also about the message it sends to the locker room, to the fans, and to the league. The Falcons are serious about competing now. They're serious about building a defense that can dominate, and bringing in someone like Watt would send a clear signal that Atlanta is here to contend. Plus, Watt's motivation to join a team with a promising young core and a chance to make a real playoff push could align perfectly with our goals this season. Now, some of you might be wondering about the logistics. How would this work? Well, the Falcons have some cap space to play with, especially considering the recent moves and restructures. They could potentially offer Watt a lucrative deal that satisfies his expectations and makes sense financially. And let's not forget, Watt's contract demands are likely to be high, but as long as the Falcons are willing to pay the price, I see no reason why a trade couldn't happen. After all, Watt has expressed his desire to win, and a team with a young, talented roster that's on the rise is exactly what he'd be looking for. Additionally, bringing Watt into Atlanta would also serve as a mentorship opportunity for our younger edge rushers like Pierce Jr. and Walker. Having a veteran like him in the locker room, pushing the team's defensive standards higher every day, could accelerate their development and help them reach their full potential. That's a win-win situation, and it could be the piece that finally puts the Falcons over the top in the NFC South. And let's talk about the division for a moment. The NFC South has been a bit of a roller coaster in recent years. The Bucs, with Tom Brady's legacy, are still formidable, but they're aging and questions about their future remain. The Saints, who once dominated with Drew Brees, are in a bit of a rebuild, trying to find their new identity. The Panthers are still developing, and while they have some promising pieces, they're not quite there yet. The Falcons, on the other hand, have been steadily rising, especially on offense with Bijan Robinson and Drake London, but defensively, we've needed that extra push. Acquiring a player like Watt could be the catalyst that turns our defense into a true strength, giving us an edge over divisional rivals and making us serious playoff contenders. To bring all this together, the Falcons' front office has shown a willingness to be aggressive during this offseason. They've already made some smart moves, adding key players, restructuring contracts, and drafting promising young talent. But if they really want to make a statement, bringing in Watt would be that extra piece of the puzzle. It would send a message to the league that Atlanta is not just happy to be competitive, but is aiming to dominate and make deep playoff runs. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to see Watt in those red and black colors, terrorizing quarterbacks in the NFC South? And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Falcons should make a move for TJ Watt? Would that be the kind of splash move that elevates our team to a new level? Or do you think there are better options out there? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. This offseason is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and we're here to keep you informed, engaged, and excited about everything happening around our team. The potential of adding Watt, the strategic moves in the draft, the development of our young core, it all points to a bright future for the Falcons. So keep your eyes open, stay passionate, and let's see how this story unfolds. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Falcons!